This is an announcement from the writers of the Justice Grimm miniseries. To our or adoring fanatics, fan base. To the radicalized leadership, and by that I should have said readership, but hear me out real quick. Don't stop thinking just yet. The dose takes time to kick in. So let's begin again. The Hydra, the multi-headed bad guy, also known as the typical writer, happens to be right here. And from the bottom of the heart of darkness, the process starts at once. Thus I trust you all enough not to go on bluffing, though it's something which means nothing to anyone, apart from the scars and scares, and the other grammatical errors that have continued on careless, if not clueless to who this is addressing. Now let's see. The reader, the winner, the with and without, who wants the approval to remove it all, albeit with some reservation, then decide the decision, now and from here on as if they haven't even noticed. Don't quote us though. So the show must go on at our request despite judgment of the Jesuits, who I will admit are overqualified for every position they've ever helped us out with. And if the list goes on, so be it. We appreciate even the negative attention. I know it's late, but did I mention the pain? Well, how about the suffering? Well, that's everything I got for this. Wait, what dossier are we on now? 12. Wow, that's a whole dozen. Now that doesn't just happen to someone out of nowhere. There are worse extremes, like things that end in 13. But who's worried? Definitely not me. Oh well, hail to the grammar commander for putting this whole thing together. We'd also like to thank our one fan if anyone knows he would understand. All the work in lazy corner cutting, priceless maybe, but it could be worth something. The stickers and stories and multi-redactions are just our own way of providing distractions. And we do our best bringing monsters bi-weekly with classified journals stolen from the employees. We are always looking out for input regardless. Every little bit helps in the overall process. Honest. And thanks again for the pain and blah blah blah.
All right, cool. So let's take it from the top again. And this time, I want to see, hear, feel, and smell the pain from the result of your consistent hard work. And when I tell you that continuity is important, well, I forgot what we were talking about just now. Probably doesn't matter anyway. No one is harder on yourself than you anyway, and you can take that to the bank. Well now, okay you say, but who cares? Well, no one really does, and that's the beauty of it. 'Cause I mean for reals though. Since when does what other people think ever been a reason to do or not to do something? Hear me out. If no one cares, then it seems logical that the opinions of others has absolutely no bearing on what you do with your life. I'm not saying go breaking the social contract. I'm just offering this question which asks, what do I think of this or that? I should point out that this thought exercise in my case is answered with a resounding don't think, which I tend to tell myself more often these days, and that, for the most part, saves me the energy of having to entertain those thoughts in the first place. Now, where was I just spaced on the topic at hand? Don't worry about it. It was probably about as important as reading your spam emails before you delete each one individually, or when you have to go through so many but are only given so many at a time to select, thus make eligible for digital extermination.
The Three Golden Leaves. After my deep dive into the juniper tree, I decided to follow up on the archive visit again, this time to pick her brain on another story from the Grim Noir. The first section is the exchange of emails I selected of our electronic correspondence. The second and concluding section contains the graphics associated with the corresponding fairy tale. Author's note: due to some knucklehead falling through the roof and leading Central Security through a chase inside the records, building access to most of Central Castle has been restricted. While the manhunt continues on, I don't suspect it was one of ours, but if they tell us he was a terrorist acting alone and without order as well, then technically we gotta go with what the narrative is for now. Hey, it's redacted. I heard about the break-in incident, so I'm sending this email in case they denied me clearance, and I'm pretty sure they will once they see how many times I've been down there in the past month. They may suspect something is going on between us, so just a heads up. May want to consider some kind of plausible deniability. It's up to you, but I digress. I'm here for business this time. Specifically the tale from the earliest Grim Noir. I mean, like going back to the redacted and possibly the data expunged. If anyone would know, it's gotta be you. As the subject header says, I'm looking for the archive specifics. Take on the Three Golden Leaves. And let's, for my reader's sake, say that we have never heard this before. At first, at least then we can pick it apart and strip the story down to reveal what's really going on later. In case you need specific questions for the database search engine, I've went ahead and drafted some questions for the Q&A section. I'll copy-paste into the dossier by hand. I may still get redacted where other concerns are here and there, but that's just operating procedure at this point. Oh, and I gotta ask, since we're on the subject, I'm totally on board with that interview with former Primus Redacted, especially if you have a contact. I kind of owe the editor-in-chief of Tie-In before the 13th book. Even if I get a 15-minute sit-down, I'll hit her with the good stuff right up front. And don't worry, you know me, I'm not gonna goof up that way. I learned a thing or two from both you and your boss about how to ask the right questions. And also reminds me, Agent Redacted from the Punishment Corps has your recommendation, and because Agent Data Expunged is my former committing officer, I've put in more than a good word for your sister. I can tell you from personal experience that working for the Punishment Court is a great way to earn dual credits for whatever university in the Grim Realms. I wish I had good news about your brother's situation though. That may actually require a face-to-face meeting somewhere way more private than even the Rejected or the Redacted or the Data Expunged or the Abandoned Water Tower in the Warner Realm. You know, we may actually need to consider meeting up in the less hilarious locations. Moving on, here are the questions I'm sure the readers would like to ask, so I'll get your professional opinion from them.
Reply the Three Golden Leaves. Hey, yeah, the archive is still in lockdown, so everyone is still working remotely for now. You should know that it was probably one of our own. I suspect Central wants us to believe that it was some kind of attack when it's just a false flag and an excuse to declare unofficial war on the realm itself. Don't be fooled by that propaganda, babe. I mean, I know you're just saying that to be safe, but still. It could have been an agent from Intel Division the whole time. Someone you work with, maybe? Well, at any rate, they can't find him because he's probably hiding with the softies in the Forestry Division. Also, I'm glad to hear that salty former boss of yours is willing to give a chance of dual credits to my sister. As for my brother, you don't have to worry or waste any more energy on him. He has to learn things before he knows, and then he can act on that knowledge. Oh, and absolutely, I'm going to make a list of places to meet that are not absolutely hilarious. Promise. No, on to the story. Once upon a space-time, back when history was only just beginning to be writ down for posterity's sake, there was a kingdom and a monarch, and that monarch had a son, the prince, who had fallen in love with a daughter of a noble house of a neighboring kingdom. The marriage was arranged quickly. Then a sudden illness took the would-be bride, giving her a terrible fever. The day of her appointed wedding, the bride would not stir from her bed. They believed her to be dead. Her body was placed on a table within her family mausoleum. The prince demanded that he be left alone with his lost love. The servants did as he commanded and left him alone in the tomb. There he cried for hours over her, and eventually, he lost track of time. He fell asleep, not knowing if it was day or night outside. While he slept, a snake came out from between some rocks, and it slithered, and its slithering woke the prince up. Startled at the snake's presence, the prince drew his short sword and hacked the snake into 3 pieces. He then returned to weeping. Shortly after, another snake came from those same stones, but this one had 3 golden leaves in its jaws. The prince stopped and watched as the snake applied the 3 golden leaves up upon the 3 pieces of its kin. The first serpent was restored into one again, and the snake slithered off, leaving the 3 leaves in the tomb. The prince then at once understood and took the leaves, then applied one his motionless bride's mouth, and then 2 above her eyes. And within seconds of this protocol, the bride gasped back to life, and finding the prince there, the 2 embraced joyfully. They left the tomb, but the prince took the leaves with him and presented them to the king, along with the full story of how he acquired them. The king takes the leaves and immediately has his advisors make a unit of specialists who would safely conceal the knowledge of the leaves and their ability to heal miraculously. Well, that's where the official canon version ends. Basically, the unit of experts who kept the leaves for safekeeping became the Restoration Corps. I'm going to copy-paste an intriguing article of analytical duration of the Archive Department of Creators. And no, I'm not part of that Office of Preservation mumbo-jumbo. But I've known Gretz forever, and yeah, the stuff is totally 100% her cup of tea. So that makes her way more qualified to take this one apart for you and your readers. Enjoy.
Reply to the 3 golden leaves. Agent records thanks again for all of that ridiculous nonsense. I should have expected nothing less from the mind of Gretz. I let my supervisor look it over, and hopefully he'll point out some of the things that we definitely got to talk about in person. And among other things, for instance, you need to do something about your mother before my boss's boss hears about what they've been doing. I mean, you know about the Disinformation Media Ministry. I'm serious though. We love her. She passed all the security tape, just walked right under all the tape, and we have thank her for all of the endless insight into the generation gap and the tireless work she does for the above-mentioned media ministry. But the tape is put there for a reason, and it wouldn't have been bad if it hadn't just kept going on so far as her behavior to barriers at crime scenes. I understand she's former Restoration Corps, but still. I digress. So from what I gather, this is just my take on it now, that all of the Grim Noir stories, at the least, the ones that I can recall in particular, attributing in miraculous healing powers to the 3 golden leaves, or 3 golden apples, or 3 golden eggs, 3 golden balls, 3 square triangles. Probably also the origin of the Sanskrit numeral of 3, the one that kind of looks like the 3rd eye chakra. I bet that is significant in some kind of way.
Reply to the 3 golden leaves. So as the subject line states, well, I can tell you really did read Gret's little treatise. She does have a way of getting into your head. Okay, first off, yes and yes and yes and yes. The 3 theme is absolutely relevant. Well, kinda, Okay, try and think of it as this. Because the 3 gold leaf story may have been added as a sort of plagiarized 3 golden apples from the Helen Sports journals. What's important about that story, despite what Gretz may have suggested to you, is that it was not an ancient alien hypothesis, not the electric universe. It's not the string theory or the hero's adventure, though she does work all of that into it, but it's the 2 snakes. And yes, that's straight from the Hermes Triathlon memoirs, but it goes back to Tutmosis and his real estate agents. They went by that nickname Odd Mouse back then, just like they still do today. And they possibly reverse engineered the idea from Professor Anka, who, if you recall, had a partner named Cricket. And anyway, it's a boring story till their lab assistant Mal, which is short for Marianne Louise, spilled some chemicals on the experiments, and they discovered a way to scientifically demonstrate the existence of the DNA double helix. 2 snakes twisting around each other. Yeah, maybe giving you Gretz's little thesis wasn't a good idea. In fact, I hope the brainwashing isn't too permanent. I really need to ask her a favor one of these days to stop brainwashing my redacted.
Reply to 3 golden leaves. Alright, so why is the Grim Noir making repeated reference to the theme of miraculous healing? It's gotta be related to the knowledge of the human genome, right? I'm just having a hard time understanding the redacted. Help me out here a bit, will ya, Data Expunged?
Reply to, oh, you get the idea. Sure thing, babe. Consider all the things that the characters show from all these fairy tales survive. Everything from being redacted to being redacted and then redacted and data expunged and redacted. Being redacted. To put in another way, the variable variations are part of the Restoration Corps' theme. You know, this is why I decided to direct you to Gretz. I could give you her number if you need more explanations. Oh, my manager tells me that Hermesis III wrote about it in some green-colored sticky notes. But someone named Data Expunged made a YouTube video about it.
Author's note research revealed that this so-called Hermes III was one of the track teams that Helen put together, and it indeed seems that his banner was 2 twisting snakes on a cross made of gold with wings. The thing is, this particular banner of Giraldi has long established history as being a merchant union's most influential family. So despite the image we get of the medical field being associated with this odd esoteric symbol, the truth is that the family of Hermes Marcus Aurelius III are tied up closely with the merchant and trade industries. Things like logistics and wholesale wares peddling are representative in that family crest. This may suggest either sarcasm or brilliant marketing, and business solutions integration. Given the irony equals out to suddenly does not require any more pontification, as I'm sure, with the robust imagination of my readers, warrant no further extrapolation.
How about that? Looks like I'm back. And thank you for your patented patient patterns and parabolous parenthetical Saturns, the ones that left the lanterns, or kept the scripts for themselves. Well, whoever those elves were, they learned a lesson. And now they will think twice before messing with the likes of Justice Grimm. Well, now here's a shock. It appears I can't stop. The mic drops, the line dots, and stretches on. But I'll pull through. I always do. And now we're off to the races. The case against us threatens to charm the alarmist socks. The softest software support team suggests the raw cut. And for what it's worth, the lesson's learned enough. Now someone please turn the rhyming machine off. No, I'm still going. I'm in there flowing for real, y'all. Crom have mercy. Now it's all too much. Certainly, they are currently harkening back after the fact. They lack both the stacking and the backing of the blaspheming majority authority advantage extraordinary. But don't be worried, because I can sit here and rap like a raptor on crack. But go find help and then hurry on back. On demand is the Sandman in the caravan. I understand. It's Slender Man, the Taliban, Aladdin, algorithm, algebra. It was on a guitar. On the guitar. I had to be there. I had to be there. So don't delay, act now. Survivor's running out. And if I've died from not being able to stop this everlasting manuscript onslaught from Camelot, understand the expanding plans examined have long determined that there's not a single chance. This is happenstance demands any kind of Counter-Strike universal acceptance. What's left? Is it a test? What kind of questions will be asked of us? Either way, if this falls through, I will blame it on you.
Oh, well, Sorry about that. My prose is verbose stepping up to bat. And back then, the same was true, as it was for me and as it is for you. Distribute for free, if that's what you want to do. If it works, go with it. But then again, specifics. If it looks too good, that's because it isn't. Can you dig it? Just saying. Percentage per chance this vintage cartoonish image delivers. In effect, giving you a sense of purpose, in case you haven't noticed. The goal behind Control is worthless without mass dissent. And yet, here we are again. Same but not same, playing these games. Aiming our names for the top. So in closing, I offered this warning resorting to turning your life around through your writing. And as always, remember to follow the pain, and you won't have to worry about anything ever again. The Intel Division thanks you once again for your hard work and endless suffering to contain the maddening reality of fiction.